is curable. We're in a new era, remembering what the earth has been whispering, shifting from conventional medicines, quick fixes, beyond prescriptions. This is our journey back to the intelligence of the body. Welcome to Beyond the White Coat. Welcome. You're watching Beyond the White Coat. I'm Gaya Stepanian, your host. Beyond the White Coat is where we return to the earth's natural medicines, restoring health through nature's original blueprint. Beyond the White Coat is for truth seekers, for those who wish to understand the human body beyond what we've been told through conventional medicine. And it's also to understand our body's extraordinary ability to heal. Joining us today is Sandra Rodriguez Bicknell, a best-selling author, book coach, and publisher. She is the founder of Soulful Books. She helps coaches and healers and visionaries turn their life story, their life lessons, into a powerful book that really draw out from your heart your ability to speak your truth and put it into words on paper so that it can be a voice that is heard for many others to learn, to connect with, and to gain hope and find their own healing and transformation. Sandra's work is rooted in the belief that the right book can transform not only a business, but the lives of the people that it touches. So, need I say no more? Here is Sandra Rodriguez Bicknell. So let's share with our viewers, what is it that drew you into writing and preparing and creating Soulful Books as a company and in your own book, because your book is from the soul.
Yeah. And that's where it started, right there from the soul. And it was the experience, the calling, the knowing that life could not continue until I wrote this book, until I shared my story, until I listened to God's message, and drop into it and say and surrender. This is it. I've been thinking about writing a book for a while and I hadn't done it. And one thing or another, the story's not good enough, or who cares, or I don't have that ending that was important enough. And it wouldn't quiet that desire. And as I wrote my book, I made the decision to write my book and, make the investment, because it's not something that you just, on a whim. You have to really focus your time, find all the things. And writing the book, that experience of just, again, the honesty of seeing your story, seeing your journey, and knowing that, you can't really lie when you're writing a book, or you can't, sugarcoat it. It is what it is. And that's where the power lies, right? And once that experience came to fruition, I wrote the book, I became a best-selling author. I shifted, because it's a visceral change that happens in your body. That's when I said, okay, this is it. There I was, 50 years old. And I'm like, this is it. This is the thing. This is what I was meant to do. And it was born from that desire to say, anyone, everyone that has a desire to share their story and make a shift in their life, like really step into and step up to who they truly are, right? I wanted to help them. I wanted to make it available. I wanted to, anybody who had a chance, come, let's do it. It's so good. And that's where Soulful Books was born. It became just my calling and my desire to help others articulate what's sitting in their hearts.
I remember the very first session that we had with the coaching, and that was exactly what your message was to me. And as a healer, you were speaking my language, right? And that's why after speaking to you, I had decided I was in the perfect hands, because you were speaking to me about that truthfulness and that honesty. And why do I want to write a book? what's the point? Is it just to share a story, or is it to, but it was about connecting with that raw, honest motivation. What was I really trying to do with that? And as you shared those words with me, it just, it was, you were in sync. Your focus in terms of helping draw out in me, that was what made it happen for me. And I had wanted to write a book for many years, and I knew I was going to, but I also needed structure. With my schedule and all my life and everything like that, I knew that if I didn't have someone who was going to make me accountable, that I was going to push it off and push it off and push it off. And so I knew that I needed some form, some structure of accountability outside of myself to get that done. And you did that. But beyond that, you helped me put together that book that I think is touching people's lives, truly. I've had several people tell me, "Hey, I read it in one day," or "I read it in 2 days," or "I'm 4 chapters in," or that just from picking it up. And so to me, that tells me, okay, great. Then we were able to really move that story into something that people could relate to, that make it relatable, and that at the end of the day could potentially open windows and doors of healing and transformation for them. And so I know you did that for me. I have no doubt you're doing that for your other authors, and certainly for your book.
That's so good. And what happens, right? And in that space where we started, the first, few sessions is really getting out of the way, right? And forgetting about us, ourselves, our story, and all the things that we think writing a book is about. And it's really not. It has nothing to do with us. It has to do with the intention, like why? What is it that you want to see on the other side of it? And it's to help others, right? And it's to, again, I will say this all the time because it's one of the moments that really confirmed it to me when someone said to me, a really dear friend of mine, "Sandy, why do you want to write your book and tell everybody your business? Like, why?" And I said, I can't imagine not doing it, because if there's one person that I can help through my story, sharing my challenges, my hurdles, and help them feel whole and not alone, then that's all I want to do. And so when we go there, when we think about that one person and that shift that you hope to create within someone else's life, that can change their life, that's it. And that's what happens. That's what we focus on, right? In what it is that what is the intention outside of ourselves and outside of our story and all the things? What is it that we want to provide for others? And that's innate, that's natural. That's not ego driven. That's not about, how many books we're going to sell. It's beyond that. It's way beyond that.
You have a pretty incredible story, right? Not too many people could say, "I've been a supermodel." And while that sounds glamorous, there's a destruction and a recovery of self-love in a field like that. Talk about getting hit left and right with, "Oh, you're not this enough, you're not that enough, you're not whatever." And so I can only imagine that rebuilding your self-love must have taken time, must have been a painful process, right? But you did it, right?
I did. And that, the truth, I was coming from a place of being, home, and my dynamics and with my family was, always, I felt a little unsettled. It wasn't nothing traumatic, but it was a sense of, I need to go, right? And when I was discovered to go be a model, it was kind of like my escape. And it was an opportunity truly to really be myself in this world. And I had a pretty awesome career because it was one of those serendipitous things. And I did great work and I had the great agents and I had a great experience and I didn't have to pound the pavement. But it did, especially in the beginning, is, am I doing this right? Am I, are these people crazy? Like, what are they seeing in me? I was the ugly duckling at home. So it became, it's like weird. And then the marriage, and that shift, moving to Jamaica, living in a foreign country, being really feeling alone. And that's when things really started to break apart inside of me. And that was one of the most difficult parts of my journey in that 20s stage that you're thinking you're an adult. You think you're, got all together and you're just not. Like, that's just not.
We make such incredibly important decisions in our 20s, and we are so underdeveloped in terms of our worldview, in terms of so many things. We really are so underdeveloped and unexperienced to be making such critical decisions, like picking a life partner forever, right? That doesn't necessarily end up happening forever.
We pick them.
Right? Coming to terms with that too.
But I mean, choice.
I was a black sheep in my family. I was definitely the black sheep in my family. And I think a lot of healers end up being the black sheep in their family. The odd man out, the one that, doesn't think the same, that gets punished more, that just gets, downtrodden, downbeaten. And so
misunderstood.
Completely misunderstood. And finding that path to saying, not only am I important, but my story and my voice is important, really is kind of like coming full circle in your healing.
Absolutely.
It's like, I'm going to be transparent. They might like it. They might not like it. They might relate. They might not relate, but I'm going to do it anyways. Is that being able to say, I am whole and I have something of value to share with the world, and I'm going to do it. It's that leap of faith. You don't know where it's going to take you.
It's a leap of faith, and to me, honestly, it's a thing that you can't control. That you can't, it's not an option. Like when you wrote your book, it wasn't about, I kind of want to write a book. No, it is, I am going to write a book no matter what. Like, this is something that I cannot, it doesn't go away. It doesn't stop hovering over my head, and the thought doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear. You don't get distracted from it. It will, no matter where your life goes. It took me 25 years to write my book. When I landed in Jamaica, someone said to me, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to write a book. I was 25 years old. It took me 25 years to actually do it. Did the voice quiet? Never, never. I knew inside of me that was what I was going to do. I knew that writing and sharing, and that my story, even at that stage of my life, was important. And I think that everybody's story is important. Everybody's perspective is different. Everybody's experience is different and unique and necessary to share. We are just the ones that chose to do it, right? Now, we're the ones that said, yes, some people just don't. They're like, maybe not, maybe not. And it doesn't quiet. Voice still goes, but they don't make that choice. And thank God, so many people do, because books changed my life. Books were everything for me from a very young age. And the message and the information and the connection that you create with words on a page, right? Because they're just words, and it's black and white, and it's, white paper, black ink, and you're reading them, and they're just words, but they shift everything within you. They teach you, they guide you. It's a personal connection, an intimate experience when you're reading a book. And that's what shifted for me. And I know what shifts for people when they read your book. Like you said, oh, I read your chapter 4. I love chapter 4. Or when you said this, oh my goodness, that really, made a shift in my life. And you're like, yes. And it's not about ego. It's, yes, I helped someone. It shifted something for somebody else.
Years ago, I had a client, and this client was from a very remote part of the country. from tribal origins. And the client had come in because their adult child had come in, and the child grandchild had come in, right? And they were all experiencing very similar traumatic issues with their health. For that client and the adult child, it was some kind of traumatic event at the exact same point in their lifetimes. Mm-hmm. And in session, the client, who was the grandparent, said to me, I wrote a book about my story, but there's no way that I would ever share that story or have it published, because there was a lot of shame and there was a lot of hurt that was unhealed. It was incredible, probably one of the most transformative sessions that I've had, or that I've seen a client go through, and it certainly was that way for me too, was seeing this client with so much pain, emotional pain converted into physical pain, go from that point to walking out and saying, that's it. I'm going to tell everybody's story. I'm going to tell my children, I'm going to tell my family, and I'm going to publish my book. And so when we get to that point in healing that we feel ready, that is where everything kind of shifts, because you're no longer holding on to your fears or your doubts or your guilt or your shame or all the stuff that weighs us down and that keeps us from being our authentic self. And writing a book is that, if we write from that place of authenticity. And that's why, Sandra, I really wanted to have this time with you, because you help people truly draw out from an authentic voice. People can sugarcoat. Yeah. It's like, when people who are on dating apps and they create an image of themselves, but it's not who they are, right? I've had so many friends tell me, oh my God, there's so many people, and they end up being older or this or that, or they're just not who they said they would be. You're caught as a liar. Yeah. And as an author, especially the circle around you, or if you're a healer, people around you or your client, they're going to know if you spoke from an authentic place, a transparent place, from a place where you've healed, and you can then share stories from a place of love and kindness, or not.
And that is where the success of the book occurs, right? Because you are honest. And when I say success, meaning that one person read the book and made a change in their life and it helped them. That, to me, that's the success. But unless you yourself know that you've told the truth, let's say people don't know, but that honest conversation you have with yourself, with that writing experience, through that, I call it the author bubble, when you're in there, right? And you're in that experience, and you're in that journey, and you're in that flow. Your life won't change. The transformation won't happen unless you get to that space of what really happened. How did that shift? What did that do for you? How do you want to change that in those who read your book, read your message, absorb your experience? And that's, to me, one of the most powerful parts is, really getting down and honest with who you are. And in that, you find that, oh my goodness, I do have a lot within me to offer. You get, it's almost like a inventory list. When you start writing, it's like, oh my gosh, and this happened in my life, and I was able to accomplish this, and I was able to go over this hurdle, and I was able to recover and come back to self and to me through these experiences. That is that transformation, that healing, that transcending from your life to others.
I think that's definitely the success in soulful books and what you bring to others. Now, how can people begin? How could they reach you? If somebody wanted to decide to write a book, what would they need to do to start that process? What would that look like?
So straight go to my website, my name right there, Sandra Rodriguez Bicknell. That's my website. Fill out a form. You can contact. There are several ways, and it's pretty easy. The website's pretty easy to manage, but just send me a message on Instagram. I'm Sandra Rodriguez Bicknell. Reach out, send me a message. I have application forms. I'm always aware of what's happening. I don't have so many people in my business. To be honest with you, it's an intimate relationship that I have with my clients, and I'm more than happy to see where you are in your journey, and be part of that experience for you to make this dream come true, this experience come true.
Yeah, it's beautiful, that you're in that place where you can truly decide if the client's a good fit for you, right? If this is,
Absolutely.
and that and that you're in that same space. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. No, there is something to be said about being aligned, being in the right time, being, again, it's a personal conversation that we have to decide, again, is this right for you? Is this the right time for you? Is this the right space for you? And have that exchange is so beautiful.
Any final tips for our viewers who are thinking about
Fine.
potentially writing a book?
Well, one tip is just do it. Truly, just do it. Like, if it's in you, just do it. Start writing. And, journaling is a little different from writing, but, start writing, start thinking about that one person. A book is a love letter. Write a love letter to that one person that needs your message. That to me is one of the most powerful experiences.
I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. I'm also looking forward to seeing you again. You're in Miami.
And
I
I am in Miami.
The world. So it doesn't matter where they are in the world. It could be anywhere.
No, it doesn't matter. You could be anywhere. We work remotely. And again, it's an intimate experience. It feels not, because we're, on this thing that we've luckily gotten used to. But anywhere in your world, any time zone, we all make it work. When you really want to do something, we make it work.
Now, outside of that one-to-one coaching, are there any other programs or trainings that you offer?
I do. I have the Open Your Writing Channel workshop, which is the introduction, that tapping in, and really experiencing what it's like to write with my process. I also have something called Connect with Your Messaging. So you have a message as an entrepreneur that, you don't know how to articulate it, right? And so really able to articulate that message, right, with your aligned message. And so I call it Nail Your Messaging, and it's a really beautiful process, and that's something else I provide. I also work on co-authored books. I'm looking at all my books over there. Co-authors books, so a collection of different authors sharing their story within one book. And the solo author book, and children's books, and it's so many different things that we can do with books, and sharing our messages and our love.
So exciting. Thank you so much. We're out of time. I look forward to you coming back to the show, and I definitely look forward to seeing you soon.
Time with you just flies by, always.
Oh, thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. So much love.
Thank you, everyone. We will see you back next Monday on Beyond the White Coat. You to pick up a copy of my book, Beyond the White Coat, A Return to Earth's Medicine, available on Amazon. In it, you will find far more details about this practice, how you can use magnets at home to do some self-healing, to help your pets, to understand the root causes of so many conditions and symptoms, to really understand some of the factors that are contributing to the deterioration of health in humanity, and how we can work with nature, with herbs and plants and food, to help ourselves heal. I encourage you to visit my website, themagnetlady.net. I have a free webinar, 3 Secrets to Your Healing Power, and other trainings, including a biomagnetism certification, so that you can, if you're so called to learn this incredible medicine, to help yourself, to help your pets, to help your family, your loved ones, and perhaps, like me, leave your career and dedicate yourself to a beautiful mission and life purpose.